Good morning, it's Brian here over at the Art of Startup War. Again, I have another phenomenal entrepreneur that we at Expert Dojo have had the pleasure of investing in. Today we're going to talk about the company, the business, the scaling. Most of the folks listening here are potential investors, people who are looking for that diamond in the rough, the company that can break through and become a phenomenal unicorn. And you look at us because this is what we do. We invest in great companies and then we support them all the way through. So today, you're going to hear all about Lifechart. Great company doing phenomenal things, not just in the mental health space, in the all health space. So, Mukul, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me, and so excited to be here, man.
It's going to be great. And today we're going to talk about scaling phenomenal companies, yours in particular. How are you going to do it? So I had the great pleasure of being able to invest in you and bring you into the dojo and get engaged and watch you. This is not your first rodeo. And look, today we really want to go through what the genesis of the idea is. We're going to take people through the hero's journey, how you thought of the idea, some of the things that really pushed against you and stopped you from being able to break through in a massive level, and then how you came through and have built the company to where it is today. And the great news for investors that are listening is that the company is still in an early stage, so you can still get in at valuations which are highly competitive and means that there's still massive upside for you. But let's start off at the beginning. Where did you come up with the idea? And talk to us a little bit about Lifechart and what it's all about.
Great, Brian. So I'll start that, from where the inception of Lifechart started, actually. So you know that I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I, in past, have sold my two businesses to the public limited companies and have given a great exit to my investors. So, last year when everybody was locked inside the houses in pandemic, I saw a lot of change in the society being a founder. The best part in me is that I got the opportunities of scale very quickly. So that was a time when, a small incident happened into my family as well. My mother doesn't keep well and she's a chronic ailment patient. She's suffering from diabetes from a couple of years. So last 30 years, I've seen a working mom, taking care of us and, helping us out in terms of upbringing and, taking our medicines. Lately, she showed some signs of, side effects wherein, her vital organs of body were, showing some side effect issues. I was searching for, solutions like a mad dog. I was searching internet. I was asking my friends. I was consulting my families that, what can I do to help my mother in this condition? And the answer came down was that, why don't you try alternate healthcare solutions, which are already present into India? Solutions which were, like known as herbal solutions, Ayurveda, yoga, meditation, counseling. I was a non-believer, Brian. Being a tech founder, I never believed on such kind of things. But yes, when there was no solution out there, I kind of, started looking out for, digital solutions for this field. And to your utter surprise, Brian, in India, a country which is known for these solutions, I never got any solution which was totally holistic, which catered to a healthy body, mind, and soul at a singular platform. And that was the reason I have to, take my mom, drive to a city which is 250 kilometers away from my, hometown, take her to one of the, Ayurveda doctor who was actually, had a lot of patients waiting outside. We were actually waiting for our time. We had to spend 4 hours standing in a queue to even get his appointment. That was the time and the pain which I kind of took to take my mother from my town to the doctor. Gave me an idea that if is this solution is working, and if I take this solution and I see improvement into my mother's vitals, I could create a very big industry. And within 3 months, I saw the dependency on modern medicine decreased by 80%. My mother started showing good signs. And that was a time, when I thought that this is an idea worth to be explored. And when I was exploring the internet, I was, amazed by numbers which I saw, the bigger market size. It's a $4.5 trillion market if you compare, as an alternate healthcare industry. And that was a thing, that very moment of time, I thought that this could be my third venture. And, the hunch of making a unicorn could be, fulfilled if I could, digitize this industry, if I can bring those all solution providers, who caters to a healthy mind, a physically healthy body, and a great soul, in terms of your solace at one platform. And the problems, Brian, which I found out during this process were these solutions were already present. They were all offline in India, and they were not instant, they were not affordable, and they were not accessible. That's what Lifechart is solving for these issues. We have We started with two doctors. It was very hard to onboard these guys and convince them and tell them that yes, this is a platform where you guys can, come up with solutions, you can scale. And in a country where internet penetration is still increasing to remote areas where these guys live in, it's a biggest challenge to bring them on
Well,
board.
let me slow you there for a second, because I think what you bring up is really important. Like, first of all, there's not many humans out there who are thinking, I don't think I need to have a healthy mind, body, or soul, right? Everybody. So the guy thinks, and it's not something you just need once, right? It's something which is continuous. So what a lot of people don't realize, especially considering a lot of folks will be listening to this over in the US or maybe over in Europe or Latin America, is that there are certain areas in the world which are absolutely on fire right now with regards to unicorns growing, and India is leading that pack. America has definitely grown in unicorns, but nowhere near to the percentage that India has grown over the last 3 to 5 years. It's gone from 14, 15 unicorns to well over 100 unicorns just in the last couple of years. You have a population of over 1 billion people. And actually everything that Mukul is talking about is specific to that region. It's very natural. Like, you don't have to convince people that they need to be healthy or that they should look at other practices to make sure that they actually do that. So the wonderful thing is, if timing is what we look for as investors for a unicorn to be built, then the timing in India could never have been more perfect than this. I also want to dig backwards just before we dig into the challenges and the hardships that you went into as you were starting to build the platform up. On your previous two companies, you said you gave returns to investors on both companies, which is phenomenal. Now, from an investor looking to put money in, that was a highly biased, positive reason why we put money into you as well, because we could see you're a winner, you've done this before. And I have to tell you, when I first met you and we started talking, I felt this is his unicorn. He did the first one. He gave a return. Investors are happy. He's happy. He did well. He did the second one. So I want to talk about, number one is, on those first two startups that you pushed out, how difficult was that compared to this startup? Did you learn all of the lessons that needed to be learned? And then the second point I want to talk about is this unicorn question. Do you get to a startup where you think, hey, 20 million, that isn't good enough. 50 million, that isn't good enough. 100 million, this one has to go all the way.
Great. That's a great question, Brian. So my past startup, if I have to tell you, was into mobility. It was YOLO Bus, basically. So we were actually solving for a mobility problem into India where people could travel into masses and they didn't had a good experience. So we created a prototype platform where you run buses, and we actually ran buses ourselves. The biggest challenge that was, it was a very operation intensive business. Now in this industry in India, wherein, you have to take a bus on lease, which is worth like 2 crores of rupees, Indian rupees, for a young graduates coming out of the college. You just did a startup and you came into the industry. Getting the supply onboarded and getting customers over there was the biggest challenge for us. So that was a time when you make a product, you do research, you get the love of the customers, and you show results into the market, wherein those people, those who said every time no to I'm not going to give you a bus. But when you show the business model working, they were banging outside your office. Hey, Mukul, why don't you take my buses? So from 2 buses, we made 100 buses, and you will be connecting, say 150 cities of India. That was the biggest challenge, to convince the market and to break that prototype thought process of transporters in India to believe in you as a tech company. And then as young founders, you have to ensure that your business model works. And for that, we always were very, 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 very near to our customers. We built the product by their each and every advice, every feedbacks that you used to get in from the customers were evaluated, and the product was changed. So quickly, we scaled the product over there itself. And in terms of an exit process, I took a great deal, a single-handed deal, when we sold YOLO Bus to a very preliminary company, a very well-known company into India, which is Ease My Trip. It's a very big travel platform into India, and all happy faces out of that deal.
Yeah,
So
great. And that was a great result. And also, it was your first experience in a marketplace, right? So you suddenly got the taste for what it's like to actually work a two-sided marketplace, which is challenging in itself because you're managing the people coming to it who are going to need the service and also the people providing the service as well. So you went through that. Your biggest learn was on the customer experience and getting really close to the customer, which I love. I think that's a lesson that goes throughout startup. And then you came in the second company. Harder or easier?
Brian, I would not say that it is easier, and neither I would say it's harder because the kind of problems which I have dealt into past, I feel that I somehow know the formula of how to, manage a very healthy supply and a healthy demand. Because having an experience of a bus industry wherein you have a real time problems coming onto your platforms, how you have to tackle them. I think that industry which is into a healthcare, and as you already mentioned, the timing of this process is great. So demand is not a problem for us at all at this platform, because I see society now adopting healthier changes into their
Mm.
lifestyle. They want to go organic. They're searching for Ayurveda solutions. They are searching for Ayurveda products. And the biggest USP which we have right now is that if I'll ask you, Brian, can you recommend me an Ayurveda product website? You'll give me thousands of websites that Mukul, you go
Mm.
and choose your product out of it. And if I ask you a question, Brian, can you recommend me a authenticated Ayurveda doctor? The answer would be no. So, the first thing which I did from my past startup, which I learned, was to crack a bulk supply at one go. So we did an exclusive tie-up with folks, those who are registered into Ministry of Ayush in India. And those are the practitioners, those who are, I would say marquee people, those who know their trades. Like in Ayurveda, they have tons of experience, so rather than doing retail things, I banged onto the wholesale stuff of supply. So that was the learning. And I think with our conviction of the market and the kind of demand and the customers testimonials, rest is all counted. So the growth of our startup shows it all, man.
And then it prepared you for number three. And so you feel number three is the big kahuna?
I think the yes, we actually are, Brian, on a verge that the timing of our product and the timing of our company is great, and I think my hunger for unicorn is going to be fulfilled by LifeChart, because I see great love of the customers onto our platform.
Yeah. And I felt that when we first spoke, you're like, Brian, this is the one. This is it. We are going to create every single solution. We're going to put it on the platform. We're going to make sure that everybody who's facing the same problem, any relation that has a mom, a dad, a daughter, a grandmom, anybody that they love, that they want to be able to find the right solution and be able to toggle between those solutions depending on whatever they need or what the results look like. We're going to give it to them. So then you had to build this marketplace, right? And the marketplace, you talk about bulk supply, but there are so many practitioners. You've got psychologists, you've got mental health practitioners, you've got people who are, as you said, practitioners of the soul, and then you've got people who really specifically solve physical problems of the body. How did you go about basketing these people together and get them all on one platform? Because it is a monster lift, and that's before we even get to the consumer themselves.
Right. So, Brian, my past experience really helped me out in terms of solving for this issue. So, I was very much clear after doing a lot of research on ground. I realized that in order to complete the customer journey, you have to divide health into two parts. One is mind and one is physical body. So, I had the specialist people, those who could go on ground, talk to people, convince them that yes, the kind of solutions which you are dealing right now are all offlines. If you could come online, because this is an era of digitization, if you come
Mm.
online, you'll get more customers, right? So those people are actually serving 2 3 4 customers. Say suppose you talk about psychologists or divine healers into India, but when they came online onto a platform, they actually started serving 10 people, and they became our brand ambassadors. So it was a very small and a very small hack of growth which we did. We made our supplier partners our brand ambassadors. They started
Mm.
speaking about us onto social media. They started speaking about doing podcasts about LifeChart on social media, and then LifeChart started becoming the every household name. And that was the thing. We not only they brought their own customers or their own supply partners onto our platform, they actually publicized us, and we saved a lot of bucks into marketing as well. And that was the secret sauce, wherein in terms of getting these bulk guys onto our platform, worked out for us. And then the kind of the formula which we cracked for the NGOs and the Ministry of Ayush, which I told you in earlier, it itself became a bigger phenomena that the coaches onto LifeChart platform are all approved by government. So it became viral, it became organic, and we just floated a kind of a job application, a kind of an onboarding platform form onto the internet, and we got 12,000 people those who applied to come onto our platform. It shows itself that that's the
Wow.
secret sauce.
And then, so how do you do the team? Okay, because when you're building a startup, the challenges are like 4 or 5 fold, right? Especially in marketplace, you have to build the supply, you have to build the consumers. You also have to have great technologists to build, because if the human centric experience is not there, then heck, it's as hard as traveling that 250 miles to find the perfect practitioner for your mom. So how did you rebuild that team? And I'm guessing your previous experiences again really helped with that, because as you do this the first, the second, the third time, you're like, okay, now I know what I really want in a developer. Now I know the folks that I want to be by my side as we go to battle. Talk me a little bit through some of the challenges as well, and then how that team managed to break through.
Now, Brian, the biggest challenge for any startup entrepreneur is always a team, right? And if you get that secret, formula done for you yourself, then you think you're won half of the war, right? Same goes for me as well. If you are a serial entrepreneur and you're working on a different idea, so convincing your core team members that yes, this is the idea you're going to retire with. This is the idea which is going to be a unicorn. That is the biggest job of me. You have to be the biggest salesman of yourself. If you know selling, if you know how to sell your vision, if you know how to sell your dreams, I think that could do your job. So that's what I've learned. And I had a biggest challenge of having selecting your co-founders. I was like, gosh, now I'm done, I know what I want to do. Now who's going to head what? So that was a time I consulted my couple of friends and couple of mentors that I am now into health tech, from mobility, from real estate, right? And this is what my vision is. I need co-founders, and through my networks, I was very lucky that I found my tech co-founder, and it took me 3 months to convince that guy to join LifeChart. He was working on ed tech, and I was like, man, ed tech, in India, Byju's has already eaten up the whole pie, and you belong from a family who basically believes into Ayurveda, because that guy belongs to South India, and South India basically is an originator of Ayurveda. So so it was not much difficult task for me to sell it, but yes, to make him convinced that yes, we are going to develop a couple of interesting technologies like AI, wherein we are going to do some kind of solve for diagnostic issue of doctors, which would make them more efficient, making technology interesting. We're going to scale it up. They will be adding a lot of blockchains. So it took me time to convince, but yes, when you are passionate about your idea, your eyes, your body language, your speech, everything speaks about it, man. And that worked out for me, and I was able to get a superb, I call my team Spartans. So my team is built of Spartans. They are all warriors. We fight daily, we win daily, and we are over here for a very big vision. That's what I can
And
say, man.
what I love that you're talking about is you're filling skill gaps. So a lot of founders, the challenge they have, the problem that they face is that they believe they can solve all problems, and we can't, right? We have certain skill sets that need to be filled. If you're
Agree.
building a technology platform to get people to come in and go through an experience which is better than the physical experience, you sure as heck better have a great CTO, great chief technology officer, to help lead that. And the same thing across the board. So you brought in a great CTO. You overcame the challenges to bring that person in. What about the other people in your team? How many people did you feel that you were going to need to get? And then how did you do that skill gapping to start driving towards the revenue that you needed to get?
Right. So, Brian, as I've told you that, you need to be very close to your customers. So, I always knew that I need somebody who is very great in ops and, customer experience. So in my past, I had a great woman who was leading my, show into my past startup, wherein we were actually serving for a B2C division, and we had an NPS of 72%. That's way high from the industry standard. I convinced Mansi to join my board. So Mansi is a person who takes care of our customer experience and operations for the company. So that gets a tick. Then I wanted somebody to scale my business. So I got a guy from a very well-known startup in India, which is Oyo, who was actually internationally expanding Oyo into UK. His name is Sam. So I got Sam on board, and he solved for my growth skills. So we four people are the pillars of the company, and rest. When I always believe in one strategy: you hire a leader, and the let leader hire his own team. So these
Mm.
guys were placed equally, at a great position, and they started recruiting this small team. I have learned one thing: you have to be frugal and effective. So we are a team of 12 Spartans and nailing it day by day, man.
I love that, 12 Spartans. And everybody has their vision of 300 now in their minds. And that's exactly what's needed to break through, because those early days on the traction is everything. Because what happens for all investors that are listening, you know this, right? A startup comes to you, gives you a great idea, and you're like, oh my gosh, I like the vision, I like the purpose. I really believe the entrepreneur can make it. I'm watching as the entrepreneur is building this incredible team around them. I have belief, right? It is a very emotional decision at the beginning because the numbers are not there to support. And in some ways, when you have built that team, when you have got the technology out there, when your human centric design is in the marketplace, actually it becomes the most challenging part, because now there's this unrealistic expectation that you're suddenly going to grow your revenue to crazy heights, which of course is impossible because you need to iterate to find that perfect client, and you need to even iterate more to find the perfect marketing mediums to get the best cost of customer acquisition. Talk to us a little bit about the pressures of the beginning of doing this. And also, this is still very recent, right? Now, we're not talking about like starting 5, 10 years ago. We're talking about starting like literally in the last couple of years, last year or two. So, from your side of it, like you're still iterating. So, talk us through the challenges of that at the beginning, that revenue moment where you thought, okay, the rubber meets the road. This is it. I got to turn this into something special. And talk us through the investor journey at that same time as you were bringing on investors.
Right, Brian. So, at starting, you're absolutely correct. There are a couple of challenges when you start. You would, if you think that you're getting a product market fit from the day two of your startup, you are actually living to dilemma, right? So, same happened with us as well. So, when we started, we wanted to do everything, right? We wanted to do mental health, we wanted to do physical health, But from my past experience, I always knew that, if you want to be successful, you have to be laser focused, right? So to convince my team that we are going to launch category by category, we want to launch a proper, we have to see the proper, customer mix and the product mix, how your, product which you have poised into the market, what is the correct demographic, what kind of A/B testing you are doing. So launching a prototype product that very moment of time, and seeing what kind of traction you are getting. Are you getting customers from your desired demographics of the ads, or organic stuff which you have done? It's the biggest challenge, Brian. Everybody has faced it in their all startups. Same happened with us as well. So what I did, I actually started category by category. We kind of launched our MVP product. We started, getting customers reviews that, you need to iterate on some, speeching. You need to get such kind of coaches. We need demand for, say, more of mental health, mental wellness. We need demand for more Ayurveda doctors. So we actually started, experimenting and getting that hint of product market fit. And during that time, speaking to investors, and taking their pressure was like, you have a team, you are actually prototyping. What's your secret sauce of scaling? How much time would you take to reach X numbers, Y numbers? So being a founder, I always think that, if you do your formula right, if you know exactly, what you are doing is right, it would take some time in terms of getting that product market fit. But once you get that formula cracked, then it's boom, 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 boom scaling. So for us, we took 3 months to kind of nail one category. And in past, what we have seen in Brian, that when we started, a month got wasted, the second month got wasted, and I was like into a great tension that what's going to happen in the third month. But the team and we got a secret formula, and now the numbers are showing 3x results in the last month. That's what we got. And after showing that results from the market, the investors, which were like, it's too early for us. It kind of, we couldn't come up into other round, are right now started knocking our doors. That's what happens. You have to believe in the process, trust the process, and definitely results are going to happen. And same happened with us as well. We actually nailed category by category our things, heard very close in terms of our customer reviews, and iterated the product, and it worked for us. And now we're getting the traction.
Wonderful. And then talk to the investors a little bit about how that revenue has grown month by month and what your year on year percentage growth is going to look like. Like, bring us through a little bit more detail on what it was. I have to say, look, when you and I first met, I judge people. I believe one of the gifts I have, maybe the only gift I have, is that I'm an incredible judge of just great warriors, right? I see people who are executors. There are so many people in the world who talk about, they have great ideas. Everybody had Uber's idea. So many people said, I thought of Facebook. Everybody is a talker, but there are very, very, very few executors, very few people prepared to do what is necessary to take Facebook. There was never a doubt in my mind what you were going to grow. Never. It was very straightforward because there was never a doubt in your mind. And there wasn't a question of there was never a doubt in your mind because you believed you were capable of it. It was because you had seen yourself do it before and you knew what the formula looks like. And I love that you use the term formula here because this is not random. There is a metric, which is very specific metric to building a unicorn, and it involves the amount of revenue that you bring in every month. It's a couple of $1 million. And then it involves the cost of customer acquisition, the lifetime value, the amount of time it takes to close customers or partners, and then just how much gas you need to put in the tank so you can actually drive more and more and more customers through. So I knew you had that, and I knew you knew the formula, and I knew that you would build it up. But talk to us about like what that month-on-month growth is going to look like since you started, and then going forward.
So Brian, I'll share a couple of numbers, from last quarter because our product is actually live in last quarter. So the first month when we started, we saw 5,000 customer traction onto our platform, and we were actually not
Which, by
making
the
much of.
way, is ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I just want to draw a little line underneath this. I mean, normally as a startup, when you launch, maybe there's 10 customers or 15, or if you're doing great, God bless you, 20, 25. This is really, really, really hard. Like, you have to understand, nobody knew this thing existed before because it didn't exist before. So to immediately go to thousands of customers is insane. So please keep going, but I want to just really draw a big line underneath it and put it in bold that to come out of the gates with so many people that were engaged in buying product is ridiculous.
Right. So, Brian, I was not satisfied with that number because the bar and the expectation was pretty high. And the reason behind that kind of customers flow which you got was, we cracked our influencer-led strategy, as I've told you, that any supply partner, those who were onboarded into a platform, were speaking about LifeChart. We wanted to make LifeChart a rage, right? So 5,000 customers, I was like, gosh, this is nothing, Next month, that customers actually grew to 7,000, and the downloads were doing great that very moment of time, but still the revenues which I was expecting were not that great. Third month, as I've told you, we did 23,000 customers that time.
Wow.
And that only happened because we were very, very clear on three things. The NPS of the customer, they should be happy. The second thing was my P&L. I, being a repeat founder, I know what amount of money I'm putting and what amount of return I am getting.
Which is your profit and loss. In America, you would think of that as your revenue statements, the revenue coming in, but also the cost of driving that revenue, direct cost of finding the customers on the marketplace, and then indirect costs of everything else that's required to run the business.
Right. And the third month, I actually started concentrating on more of LTV to CAC ratio. And that's a universal term. And if you would ask me, Mukul, what's your LTV to CAC ratio right now? I would say I am nearing to 3. And this is like something I have already broken even on the amount of money which we have put in the last 3 months.
I feel like you're translator. I like this. So CAC is, of course, cost of customer acquisition. LTV is lifetime value. This equation is the only equation that matters. How much does it cost to find folks? How much money do you get from folks over what period of time? The magic number that Mukul just said there is 3. So if you can get 3 times the cost of finding customers, you are golden. It's highly, highly, highly unusual. If you take Uber, for example, and you look at their lifetime value versus the cost of acquiring customers, then you find that they're actually in the negative. That's why they've lost money every single year since the beginning of time. So if a perceivably great company like Uber is losing money and you've got Lifechart at 3 times, it is incredibly unusual. So I just, again, big line underneath this. I know you're going to tell me you weren't happy with that, but it's
Yeah.
still pretty damn good.
So, Brian, in terms of month, if you would ask me, I started with zero point 0.6 as my LTV to CAC ratio. The second month was 0.8. And
Mm.
this month, as I've told you, we're going to, surpass our thought processes, our expectations. And I am still not happy because, I want this to grow to 5. And we have to be constant winners in this category. So I think the initial, when you started your conversation, you said about the timing. This actually justifies your statement that this is the correct timing in terms of alternate healthcare. And people are actually searching for something which is very close to nature, something which says no to medicine and yes to prevention. That's what Lifechart is offering you, things which are instant, accessible, and affordable. This is what we say in terms of our vision, and that's what Lifechart is for you.
I love it. And I want to finish up in the last 5 minutes or so just talking about what money you've raised, what money you're going to raise, and then really looking at the vision of Lifechart. Like, where does it become in the future? As investors are sitting here thinking, amazing entrepreneur, pure executioner, Spartan team, great chief technology officer, built a phenomenal product, incredible adoption right at the beginning. Where's my opportunity?
Right. Brian, we have just raised a pre-seed round and you've been a participant in that. We have raised $200K, and apart from Expert Dojo, we had Nazara, Technologies. The founder is Nitish, who
Mm-hmm.
is known as the Tencent in India, the gaming king. He has
Mm-hmm.
actually done his company public in past 2 years. So that's what our current round, which compromises of. I am currently raising a dollar 1.5 million
Mm-hmm.
at a valuation of 6 million pre-money,
Yep,
and have
very,
already
very
started.
reasonable.
I've already started getting traction. I've got a soft commitment of dollar 500K already, and the thing which I see as a vision for Lifechart is that Lifechart is the future of preventive wellness for the world, and we are on a mission to create an alternate healthcare ecosystem which is instant, affordable, and accessible. That's what we say. We connect you to your doctors within 60 seconds. That this is what our line is, with a blazing thing over there. And in coming future, I see that we would be doing a lot of tech innovations, wherein we would be getting into a couple of personalized IoT devices as well in coming times. And our AI, which is getting developed into our R&D team at the back end, would replace the diagnosis process of the doctors, the preliminary diagnosis process of doctors,
Wow.
wherein doctors ask questions to you, they see your eyes, nose, color of your skin, and then they recollect and they think that whether what kind of disease you have. So our AI is going to replace that thing and is going to make that tedious process of doctors spending time with the patient less, wherein at current moment they're spending 30 minutes. With the AI coming to the picture, they're going to spend only 10 minutes, and this would create a rage into the market. And this is something which nobody has ever thought of. And Lifechart would become a preliminary company to launch this, and a couple of IoTs and hardware which are in pipeline in coming future, which will become a part of your daily lives in order to test your vitals. So that's what Lifechart is working on too in future.
Incredible. So, investors who are listening, I also want to get your details to people so that they can contact you as well. Investors who are listening, you have a exited entrepreneur 2 times. You have an incredible team. You have traction at the beginning, which is continuing to grow, cost of customer acquisition, which is continuing to drop. You have a population that are growing insanely, over 1 billion people, and that's just the beginning over in India. You have unicorn central station happening in India right now with more and more every 5 minutes. And you have a founder who is ready to take this one on in a big way. And I think also we have a very reasonable valuation for where you are based right now and for what you've done. And for everybody who wants to contact you going forward, what's the best way? Is it email?
It's an email. My email ID is Mukul, which is MUKUL @lifechart, which is LIFECHART.in. Or you can contact Brian.
Yeah, or you can put it over to me, which is Brian, Brian, at expertdojo.com. McCool, you're a beast, man. I saw it the very first time I saw you. There's no doubt in my mind we are going to have a phenomenal return. Any investors who are listening, feel free to reach out to McCool, reach out to me. But whatever you do, you should reach out. Thank you, my friend. Let's build a unicorn.
Awesome, man. Great, man. Thank you so much, Brian. Thanks for having me, man.